A story about Proverbs 12. In the cheerful village of Fairhaven, people made choices every day, some good, some not so great. This story brings the lessons of Proverbs 12 to life, told in a way that you can easily understand, showing how our actions shape our lives. In Fairhaven, young Ben loved learning and listened to wise advice, which made him smarter and happier. But his friend Nate ignored good advice, acting foolishly and getting into trouble, like when he skipped chores and got grounded. Ben worked hard tending his family's garden, planting seeds with care, and soon had a bountiful harvest. Nate, however, was lazy, neglecting his chores, and ended up with nothing to show for it. When the village held a contest for the best animal pen, Ben treated his animals kindly, and they were healthy and strong, winning him a prize. Nate was mean to his animals, so they were weak, and he lost the contest. Ben dreamed of building a treehouse and made a solid plan, which came true with a sturdy, awesome hideout. Nate also wanted a treehouse but didn't plan, so his half-built mess fell apart. At school, Ben spoke kindly, earning him lots of friends who trusted him. Nate, however, lied and bragged, making everyone avoid him because they couldn't trust his words. When Ben was upset about a bad grade, he listened to his teacher's advice and worked harder, feeling better and improving. Nate just sulked and ignored help, staying stuck and miserable. Ben's kind words were like a soothing bandage, cheering up his friend Mia when she was sad. Nate's harsh words, though, were like a sharp knife, hurting others and making them mad at him. Ben's honesty made him shine like a bright star in Fairhaven, and people respected him. Nate's sneaky lies, however, were like a dark cloud, making everyone suspicious of him. When Mia worked hard at her bakery, her efforts paid off with delicious bread and happy customers. Nate tried to cheat by selling stale bread, but people caught on, and his stand flopped. Ben's good choices, like helping his neighbors, kept trouble away, like a shield. Nate's selfish tricks, however, got him tangled up in problems, like a net he couldn't escape. At the village fair, Ben's honesty won him a ribbon for his garden. Nate's cheating in a game got him caught, and he was sent home in shame. Ben respected his parents and listened to their advice, which made his life peaceful and happy. Nate ignored his parents, acting wild, and ended up grounded again. When a storm hit Fairhaven, Ben's honesty and hard work had built a strong house that stood firm. Nate's laziness left his house shaky, and it leaked, leaving him soaked and grumpy. Ben loved his family and treated them with care, earning their love in return. Nate was selfish, arguing with his siblings, which made his home tense and unhappy. The village judge, wise old Ezra, made fair decisions, keeping Fairhaven peaceful. But a shady merchant named Seth gave bad advice, stirring up fights until people ignored him. Ben's kind heart led him to share his apples with the poor, and God blessed him with even more fruit. Nate hoarded his food, but his greed left him with less, as people stopped trading with him. When Ben faced a tough choice, he thought carefully and picked the right path, like choosing to study instead of goofing off. Nate rushed into bad decisions, like sneaking out, and got caught. Ben's good life was like a healthy tree, growing strong and full of fruit. Nate's selfish ways were like a weed, weak and easily pulled up. At school, Ben worked hard and earned good grades, making his parents proud. Nate slacked off, and his poor grades disappointed everyone. Ben's careful planning, like saving for a new bike, paid off when he rode it proudly. Nate spent his money recklessly and had nothing to show for it. When a neighbor needed help fixing a fence, Ben pitched in, earning thanks and friendship. Nate refused to help, thinking only of himself, and ended up lonely. Ben's kind thoughts led to generous actions, like sharing his snacks, which made others happy. Nate's selfish thoughts led to mean actions, pushing people away. Fairhaven's honest people, like Ben, were praised and lived happily. Sneaky folks, like Nate, were frowned upon and faced consequences. Ben's wisdom was like a crown, making him respected, like a village hero. Nate's foolish choices were like a heavy weight, dragging him down. When Ben heard a rumor, he checked the facts before believing it, staying wise. Nate believed every wild story, getting fooled and looking silly. Finally, Ben's good choices brought him joy, like a sunny day, and he lived contentedly. Nate's selfish ways brought him trouble, like a stormy night, and he was never satisfied. In Fairhaven, the lesson was clear: choosing wisdom, kindness, and hard work, like Ben, led to a happy, blessed life. But foolishness and selfishness, like Nate's, led to trouble and sadness. The village grew stronger because of people like Ben, who showed the way to live well. You have listened to the story. Now you can scroll down and see the actual Bible verses. You can read them if you'd like.